if you look at the different religions that there are, you feel me? 2,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, 25,000 years ago. So it's like there's already an account in history. We'll say that the world itself, our planet, millions and billions, yes. But human history goes at least 30,000 years back. And all them people was brown.
Check this shit out, man. I've been listening to some stuff, and it's like there's been 3 seedings
Of the human race?
Of the human race on
Right.
the planet.
Right.
And the first seeding happened like 250 million years ago or some crazy
And there were people, but they weren't us.
No, they weren't us. They were supposedly they were like 12 feet tall.
Oh, you're talking about the
That might have been like the second seeding where those folks came from.
I think that was the second.
That might have been the second, right? And then there was a third one.
And the third one is what's really crazy, because that's when the longevity on human life got capped. That's where the connection between our brains, where they are now, got created, and the limitations got put on.
Right? And why did that happen?
That's what we're trying to figure out.
Well, I've been listening to some stuff, man. And it's like, oh, really? So these consciousnesses or these entities wanted to have a slave society and places they could control and play God, and they genetically manipulated
And modified
with us to try to because our DNA is angelic. Like our DNA is got source coding in it, and if we tap into that, we're way beyond anything that people have ever said about, especially African people.
And that's one thing that I'm still also trying to understand too, because it's like to a certain extent we understand it, where it's like, look at the, you feel me, melanated and black races, and the fact that they have been dominant structures, have always been organized, have always been, you feel me, like in control of themselves, aware. They've had the cutting edge on technology. So let's just look at this right here.
Who has them?
Melanated people,
Right,
period.
right,
You feel me?
exactly.
Because I was just about to say, when we look at the white Caucasian, whatever, these niggas didn't have plumbing, they didn't have water,
right.
they didn't have medicine. You feel me? So it's like they didn't have architecture.
Exactly.
They were drawing in caves.
Exactly.
Niggas didn't have paper.
That's exactly.
Like they didn't have hieroglyphs.
Exactly.
They had stick figures.
Exactly. Okay? So like, stop lying to me and stop trying to tell me what I am and who I am when you don't even know who you are.
And so this is something I was talking to this woman with not that long ago, and we were talking about like the Caucasian race and the fact that, like we were just saying, there have been multiple stages of evolution, and we have the Neanderthal. What color is the Neanderthal? You feel me? Where'd the Neanderthal come from?
Right.
And you just
Where
talked
does all
about,
that hair come from?
you talked about
Neanderthals.
the genetic manipulation. That's where it
That's
came
it.
from.
That's
You
it.
feel me?
That's
They were mixing up with this and with that, a little bit of this DNA, and then put the animal in there,
Exactly.
and we created a consciousness, but that consciousness didn't have the spark of life or the intellectual capacity, which is why they went to the Caucasus Mountains. They were not able to survive in the sun. They couldn't take it. They didn't have no melanin, so they was in the Caucasus Mountains.
Exactly.
Away from the sun, away from the heat, away from the life, away from the vegetation. It was cold and harsh, and niggas became heartless.
Exactly.
That's why they're cold and harsh.
That's like the cold and heartless. That's some shit, man. that is some real talk, okay? And man, when like what's happening is like this awareness is starting to come up, and this is like the third or fourth, fifth conversation today I've had about it. Okay?
That means you deep in it.
I'm way deep in it, Brian. And when I pick people up, like Locks, there's some brothers that don't understand.
That don't know.
what they're really all about. But then there's some brothers that do understand it. And when we communicate about it, we're like, man, this conversation is raising the consciousness of millions of people.
Because even if it's just us
It's
two,
being said.
it's being said out loud,
Being
it's
projected.
put in the wavelength,
That's
but
right.
then also it's put inside of us. You feel me? We
It's already
perpetuating
there.
it now. So
Right.
every person that
It's
I
already
was just
there.
in the space with,
Right.
if I talk to 10 people have caught a bit of this type of level of
That's
conscious.
right.
You feel me?
That's right.
Even if we didn't get into full detail about this type of stuff,
No.
my energy is different, my
Exactly.
understanding is different, and now you're thinking slightly differently.
Exactly. You can't help it, and that's the beauty of the situation, because I have this saying, you can't fuck with God.
Not at all.
I wrote a song about that shit. Okay, you cannot fuck with God. I don't care if you don't like my language, but that is the truth.
No, 100%.
Okay? And when these
entities
mutants figure it out, you know what I'm saying? When they figure it out, they're gonna stop doing this shit that they're doing.
The thing
they're
is,
gonna get away with it.
the thing is, I think it's already figured out, which is why they do the things that they do to try and to change it. You feel me?
Well,
They already know that what is destined is going to be destined, which is why we have to act so hard in the opposition.
Right. Well, the leaders who quote unquote are protecting their bloodlines, they're protecting their bloodlines because they know they're mutants, basically. Okay.
I mean, they're just protecting their bloodlines because it's like this. I want my family to continue to be safe and be alive. It's literally just the longevity.
They also want to keep trying to dominate the planet and pursue this pipe dream of, you know, Darth Vader or whatever. And I don't, it's probably not the best.
No, I hear what you're saying.
But
It's like Darth Vader is making a false reality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Matrix, right?
And keeping it perpetuated for as long as possible.
As long as possible.
But they know it has to come to an ultimate end.
Because, check this shit out, man. They don't have the spark. Okay? I'm sorry to say it, but like some souls have it. It doesn't matter what color your skin is, but if the further you are away from being a melanated being, the less likely it is that you even have the spark. And if you don't have the spark, you're not an eternal being.
And that's something that I've been trying to get around now and wrap my head around because of what you're saying. The lineage, the genealogy, the offspring. It's like, so we have the Jews, we have the Gentiles. What is that separation? And what does that mean for certain people? And there's one thing where it's like talking about some people are NPCs, non-playable characters. You feel me?
Yeah.
You do not have an eternity.
That's right.
How do you determine who has an eternity and who doesn't?
But you don't. See, that's the thing.
But I'm just saying, as a person who comes into contact with people, how do I know? You feel me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Because I don't want to be in contact with these, you feel me, never last. Like, I want to be in contact with the motherfuckers who's going to live on too.
Exactly. See, alike attracts like. Okay? So don't worry about it. You're going to attract your tribe and your people that are resonating on the same frequency as you. And them fools that aren't resonating or are purposely trying to deny reality, the true reality, they're just gonna become what's called
Dissipate.
It's called space dust.
Yeah.
Okay, they're going back to source.
Right.
One way or another.
And yo, thank you for this. Because this is something else I've been thinking about. The fact that source energy exists and that we all have to go back to source.
Right.
But then at the same time, there are those infinite beings and infinite sparks. So differentiating between, okay, you go back to source and dissipate, and you go back to source and you might not be the same, but your consciousness stream isn't completely obliterated either.
Well, that's why we meditate. That's why we chant. That's why we sing. That's why we worship our ancestors, so that we maintain the connection to source. But they have tried their damnedest to sever the connection, and what they've done is actually through the attempt to deny truth and reality, they've actually brought it forward even more, because as African Americans or Black Americans, whatever you want to call us, we're not attached to the old way.
Especially not no more, because it didn't work for us. So nigga, why the fuck am I about to do that? Niggas been.
But see, the thing is Africans fucked up too. Okay.
100. That's how slavery got started.
Well, that's part of it. Part of it is them motherfuckers like started believing
And bullshit.
the devil shit,
Like
and the beast
sacrifices,
shit a long time
offerings,
ago, a long time
praising
ago.
certain things.
Right.
Yeah, no,
They
100.
turned away from source
The truth.
consciousness a long time ago, and they created this motherfucker.
The world that we have now.
That's right. And now It's like a spoiled child who
throwing a tantrum knowing that they're wrong.
And so look at Trump. He is the epitome of the mistakes and
but then doubling down on them.
And then doubling down on it. But the reality is, y'all gave up your divine Christ consciousness so long ago, and now this matrix false, what I would call false universe or false cosmology, this black hole, the shit that we're in, its days are numbered. So the only way I'm learning this shit, the only way that we move past it is to chant and connect with our source. We have the divine spark within us. We don't have to worry about these other motherfuckers, and I don't care what color you are. If you got it, your consciousness is like acting on it.
Well, yeah, at this point in time, it's not even about color, because there's so many different mindsets, mind states, emotional states, that is like, even if your genealogy, your lineage was a part of something, you cannot take part in something you're not aligned with. Exactly. And so we all just have to align ourselves, which is why the conversation about the Jews, the Gentiles, and the other is so convoluted, because it's like, I might have been from Gentile race, but my mindset, my consciousness is completely on the opposite spectrum of that shit. And so it's like you were saying, real recognize real. God's not going to deny you if you really on his timing.
Exactly. Because that's the love that was promised eons ago.
It had nothing to do with anything other than what your choices and decisions are.
Thank you. That was it. What do you choose to do? You want to be a beast? You want to be the devil? You think you want to be God? You can't be God. Okay? Source is source. You don't have to. And I read this thing and it rang so true to me. It's like, source doesn't give a shit if you worship or praise.
No, because at the end of the day, he's just going to align with whatever aligns with him and let whatever doesn't pass by. This is how I started to look at it. I started to look at it as binary code. You feel me? You have your ones and you have your zeros. When you put it into the computer system, it can't tell if the reason it wasn't a 1 or a 0 is because somebody fell on the computer and broke everything and fucked it up. All it knows is I can't read this. And so somebody asked, if there is a God and there is a creator, how does so much good and so much bad both exist in the same plane? I said, because the creator isn't sitting there looking at the specifics. My nigga got so much going on, he's reading the code. Is it a 1 or is it a 0? If it's not a 1, it doesn't fit. If it's not a 0, it doesn't fit. I don't know the specifics, but I have to deny you. And then that's the reason why Jesus Christ had to even come. So he could be the code reader and say, hey man, I know this was a 3, but he was trying to make it a 0 the whole way through. There was a little aspect that got messed up. He talked to me, he repented, he prayed about it. We can go ahead and change it to a 0. He came with a 3, but we're gonna turn him to a 0. And that's what, for as a young man, it's like, you find out that God is all powerful. But then you find out there's the Holy Spirit, there's the Trinity, there's the Father, and you're like, there's Jesus. Where does Jesus fit in? Because God cannot conversate with us the way we conversate. He's not looking at the specifics. It's a 1 or it's a 0. It's a yes or it's a no.
Right. That's deep, bro. Because what kind of like led me to a lot of this was the idea that God is perfect and we're perfect.
When we line up with God.
When we line up with God, because nothing like can even exist
without his say so.
Without the, if you want to call it blessing, or without
presence
breath, God, right? And therefore, if God is and you have to kind of step outside of this duality way of thinking, because at the end of the day, truth is true
and false is false.
False is false. Like you said, 1 or 0. Perfection is like all encompassing. So let's just say perfection is 0, right? It's a holistic thing. You come around here trying to talk about how you're going to be something other than that.
It can't work.
It ain't happening.
It can't work. It doesn't
even,
fit.
It's not even real.
It doesn't. Yeah.
So this fool who wanted to, or fools, whatever they were, they
reach
about
heaven's
it.
consciousness.
When they wanted to like become
equal and ascend where we are now
and be God.
Yeah.
And somehow like
it doesn't compute in this universe.
It
doesn't work in this universe.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hopefully everybody's safe.
So yeah, bro. So like, and then it makes a whole lot more sense to me, because if somebody decides to do something that's not in alignment with that perfection, then they become, for sake of a better word, insane, and they can believe their insanity if they want to, and they can make all this stuff to pretend that they're not crazy. But the fact of the matter is, if you're not in alignment with perfection, you're not even real.
I wouldn't even necessarily say insane, and I think part of the reason is because of the fact that that's become the norm, right?
Yeah.
A majority of us, and myself included, don't line up 100% of the time. So that's just the status quo. But then you have to realize, like, me as a person, I'm not 100% coinciding with the natural order, because I have my wants, I have my beliefs, I have my teachings, right?
Yeah, but you're like in a process of deprogramming.
Right, and most of us don't ever get to that state, so we never even realize that we're not working in conjunction with the natural order.
That's right. And you know, the devil, the beast,
He loves it that way.
Exactly, and he's been telling us all this shit about
Get this, have that, do this.
Order is, you know,
To be above, to be on top, to be ego.
Is like superior.
That part too. I just had a conversation last night. I had a white roommate. He told me one day, he said, "You're inferior to me." And it's not the way I feel, but the world looks at you as being lesser than me. And that's just something we both have to come to accept.
Oh, really?
I said, bro, what the fuck?
Really?
Where is this coming from?
Except that you're crazy?
I was like, I have to accept that I'm inferior to people because I'm black?
No.
Why do I don't have to accept shit.
Exactly.
That might be the status quo for a large part of shit.
Well, yeah, but you don't.
But why do I have to accept it?
Exactly, because that's the way they maintain power.
Because that's where you would prefer.
That's what
That's what you would feel comfortable with.
Your privilege is based on.
Me not knowing that I'm great.
Exactly. And now we look at it, bro. I hate to say it, but if anybody's superior, it's black folks.
And that's another thing that I realized is that
superiority.
a lot of other races realize that before we even do. We're faster, we're stronger, our bodies are more physically inclined for six packs, buff muscles.
Exactly.
Like, when it comes to fashion, when it comes to singing, dancing, arts, all of the things that have been
when it comes to science.
When we I always that part is actually crazy, because we always forget the fact that we just said who had the toilets first, who had flowing water first, who cleaned up their living first, who had medicine first,
who had glasses. I mean, come on. And now, like, none of this shit would exist without us.
Yeah, the refrigerator, the toilet, simple shit.
And GPS even.
Yeah.
A black woman invented GPS.
And even just this, bruh. Jesus Christ was not white.
Hell no. I think it was black as me. He's blacker than me, probably.
If anything, this nigga was Muslim or Hindu. This nigga was definitely tan. He was red as fuck.
He was a Hebrew, but he was a black one.
Yeah.
Right? He had to be. And then the motherfuckers in Russia, they got black Madonnas locked up.
Oh yeah, that too. I forgot about that.
Know that Mary was black, Joseph was black, Jesus was black, Abraham was black, Moses was black. All that is black history.
Everybody in the Bible
Everybody.
was at least DJ Khaled's color.
At least.
Like at the lightest.
And I don't know if you've ever heard of Bobby Hemmett. Check him out.
I don't think so.
Bobby Hemmett. I learned a lot of stuff from him. He doesn't have all the answers, but man, his shit is deep. And he talks about how, there were genetic experiments being done.
Yeah,
And
even in biblical times.
Exactly, and them mulattoes and quote unquote so-called white folks, all those were creating mutations.
And not even just that. If you look at like the Romans and the Greeks, and they have like the centaurs and stuff like that, really was happening.
Oh yeah. Oh, that shit's real, man.
But it just goes into the idea of the original creator having a creation and the other trying to mirror it. As they say, so above, so below.
Exactly.
Is that really the case? I don't think so. I hate that saying, because like, yes, so above, so below. The micro is the macro, but nigga, we are not the same. We are trying to reach. You feel me? Or it's like
Exactly. No,
the level of God's creation and perfection, we still cannot even fathom.
Exactly.
Though we have understanding, we can't fathom.
No, and that's a paradigm that exists on the third dimension. That is not a paradigm of shit.
Oh no, higher dimensions already know because they seen it. You feel me? We're in the third dimension. We're stuck.
But we have a way to get out, okay?
Death.
Here's the trick, and this is probably why we're having a conversation. We're actually coded for 12 strands of DNA. And as we unlock those strands, you talk about Kundalini, raising the consciousness.
Oh, you hit with the Kundalini?
Yeah, man. But this is like, once we understand what we really are, and we start promoting the frequencies that help us to raise our consciousness, that's our 12-stranded DNA. And
Activation.
There's actually 15, and that's why they talk about the soul, the oversoul, and you know how they talk about how so then they talk about how we're only using a fraction of
Oh,
our
10%
brain.
of our brain?
Yeah, because we've been dumbed down.
But that's another thing
somebody
that
else's
when
agenda.
we were talking about the capping of the DNA, I think that coincides with that.
I believe it does.
Because if you just look at the Egyptians and like the level of technology and like building they had, it shows that all of this could not have been done by machine power, right?
Oh no.
But there's the idea of using sound, of using vibration, electromagnetism.
Exactly.
You feel me? So they knew more.
That's right. They knew more. Now they weren't, the Egyptians, were not perfect.
Oh no, they were definitely demonic.
And
They were demon influenced.
Exactly. They got influenced by the demons.
But when you look at the history of the world, the fallen, the offspring, you feel me? They taught our kind, humankind, everything we know, essentially. Everything we have in this world is predicated off of the fallen.
Exactly. Well, see, okay, so now, so the way I'm hearing the story, I'm not 100% sold on how much of it is actual fact, but the way it goes is that these fallen, and you're probably gonna recognize, I'm gonna use the term Anunnaki.
Yeah.
Okay. There's different entities out there
Yes.
that have wanted
Different things.
to play God.
But some of them wanted to play God. Some of them wanted to have their own offspring. Some of them just wanted to fuck.
That's
You
right.
feel me?
That's
And so
right.
this is how I look at it. I look at it where it's like some of these niggas got tricked them damn selves. You feel me? Because it's 1,000 niggas. You feel me? And so it's like 100 of them knew what was actually good. But they were like, hey, bro, look, you see her? She fine as hell. We could go down there. We could have our own kids. And then other ones was like, God really think he running it. We can really be just like him. You feel me? It was a mix. And other ones was like, hey man, we need your help because the humans are dumb. So we're trying to enlighten them. And so it's a layer. Some just wanted to have fun. Some wanted to play God. Some wanted to be God. Some just wanted to have sex. And others really thought they were just being helpful.
That's right.
Until they realized, nigga, I'm not allowed back in heaven.
Exactly.
Yo, y'all got me messed up, dog. I can't talk to God no more.
Exactly. Because you believe in some shit that ain't real.
Exactly.
You're living in a-
It's like your actions went against yourself.
Exactly. And the truth, there can't be
Multiples, exactly.
other
They can't
things.
exist, right? And that's where we get demons, because their spirits could not go back to where the all being
so-
ever. Yeah,
Exactly. So what I wanted to get at was when this happened on a couple of occasions when they did this shit. They created what's called a phantom universe.
reality.
Phantom reality, which is what black holes are.
Wow,
It's a corruption.
I never
of
thought
the
about that.
perfection of the universe that Source created. And a black hole, what does it do?
It just sucks
swallows
up what's already
it
in
sucks up
existence.
all of the energy,
Turn right, then turn right.
right?
In 300 feet.
That's
Sucks
interesting.
up all the energy. And that's what these motherfuckers are. They're fucking energy vampires.
You should just hit a UE right here. But I never thought about that. I was talking about black holes not that long ago, like within the last week.
Mhm. And that's what I.
And the fact that when you see a black hole, it's tiny and it starts to exist out of the middle of nowhere.
Exactly.
That's interesting.
Left here.
Yeah, right here. And then go straight down to the stop sign and to the right.
Okay.
But yeah.
Straight down this way.
Yeah.
At the stop
So
sign,
yeah, man. So
turn
just
right,
like keep
then turn right.
searching for the truth, bro. Because
Well, everything we talking about now is stuff that I was looking into in 2016, 2015. So it's like I had to take a pause. You feel me? I had to take a break. I had to be like, bro, am I crazy?
I've gone through those periods of situations, and we can talk about it for days and days and days. But yeah, I had to definitely step back because even as a Rastafarian,
Turn right, then a right.
I started to see the shortcomings of that,
The Rastafarians.
those beliefs, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it was like, okay, this is partly right, but this ain't all the way right.
No, because it becomes too much about the I aspect and it's too much based in the